All right, once again, welcome to this segment, the talk show segment. You can start sending your questions to the numbers that they have given to you, and the questions will be coming to me here. Uh, Let me start with one or two questions to the ones that are here. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Kondwani Kachambangwira. We didn't know you for all these years. You know, suddenly, boom, and everyone knows you. You know, how have you done it? I know that there are some here that are, you know, inspirational speakers, or there are people that put things online. There are people that, you know, they teach online. You know, I also know some that have their own schools here. But how do you do it? How do you add value to yourself? And how do you now brand yourself? Or how do you release yourself, so to say?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, very first question, where have you been all these years, and just within 2 years, boom? The truth is that all that time we were running businesses. And if you are running businesses, making money, don't shout. Why should everyone know that you are making money? The reason why they have known us this year and last year is because now we have started a project to interact with people. Now we have to train people. Now they have known us. Not that we have existed for the past 2 years, no. So only when there's an activity that involves people, we come out. When there's an activity to make money, we make it silently.
Miss Izidis Gia, you know, being a pastor, I meet a lot of women. And one of the things that some women will say is, you know, I'm not being promoted because I'm a lady. I'm not doing this because I'm a lady. So the lady thing now becomes the key focus of their life. That if I was a man, I would have been the CEO. You know, you are a lady, and we have seen you rise up. Old Mutual Malawi is not a small organization. Okay. What should a lady do to get to that point? I know it will extend to the men, but I want to first of all give you that opportunity to speak to the ladies. What should that lady do? Should they cry, or did you ever disguise yourself, you know, and you took on the face of a man? Or what do you do to rise up the hierarchy like that? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. First of all, I should actually say, I think when you look at our society pressures, or society, historically, there are issues around gender imbalance. But I think one thing that we should all realize, whether it's male, female, all these things around gender and whatever imbalance or iniquities happen worldwide, it's around fight for resources. If there was no fight for resources, so for example, I'll give you an example. In church, you find that women will lead. It's the spiritual things. But when it comes to roles where money is concerned, you find the balance of power changes. So it's not really around, I'm a woman. When we go to other societies, it will be black versus white, etc. It's all about fight for resources. So what I actually say is, it's real, it's there. But what do? We need to just make sure that we are fit for the role that we want to be. We prepare ourselves for that. I think one thing, even learning from Kondwani Kachamba's, is around focus. This is something that I want to do, and I go for it. And I will do the necessary things. So, for example, he says manufacturing. He will see something. I'm sure he studies a lot. Maybe that's something that maybe he has not told us behind. He goes, studies, and prepares. So, for whatever role you need, nobody is going to give you that on a free platter. Whether you're a man or woman, whether you're black or white, it doesn't matter. So you need to prepare yourself for that role. Thank you very much.
Wow, wonderful. You know, again to you, in the interest of time, you can allow me to call you Idris and Kondwani? All right. Idris, they say that the secrets of people are in their daily habits. How do you spend your normal day? Now, I have had conversations with you, and it's actually very difficult to even get to talk to you. you know but how is your normal day like? Because in a world of, as you said, there's a lot of social media, there's a lot of this catching your attention, and I know Old Mutual is a very busy place. How do you normally spend your day? Do you sleep? If you do, is it at 2 a.m. and wake up at 3 a.m., or how do you normally do it? And during the day, I think I would want to hear that. The same question will be given to you immediately after. Thank you. Let's say on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, how do you spend your day?
Thank you. A typical day will start. So I also believe I'm somebody who's a Christian. I'm Catholic. I believe in prayer. So every day I make sure that I actually pray first thing before I do anything. And for those of you, I don't know whether I have some colleagues here that we meet every morning, 5:30, Blantyre Sports Club. I'll go and do my jog. But for me, it's not about the running. It's about the time that I am alone and think. Most of the time, I'll have my podcast. I'll be listening to whether it's spiritual talks or anything, any topic. But 5:30 to 6:30, that time usually refreshes me. I go back home, I'll have my shower, I go to work. At work, I think the one thing I love about my job, it's not monotonous. Things happen. There will be challenges. My apologies that I couldn't take your calls. I think the past 2 weeks have been hectic. But it will be dependent on what is happening. What I was sharing earlier on around work-life balance, if I'm at work, I need to put in my all. I'm at work. If I'm at home, right now, I'm at a stage where all the kids are gone. It's just me and my husband. I also need to make time for him. So if I'm home, I need to be 100% present and ensure that I'm also there. So sometimes those times will be few and far apart because maybe the work pressure is there. But when I have the time to also be at home and relax, I do that. But one of the things that now that I'm growing up, I'm taking up more and more, I actually do quite a lot of work at church as well. I actually find it's actually one way of also growing my horizon. Because at work, I meet different type of challenges. When I go in the society, in the community, it's completely different. I actually learn quite a lot from that side of my life. So my weekend, like today, I said I had something else. I spent some time at the funeral. I learned quite a lot. If I'm not attending such societal gatherings, etc., it means also my horizon is quite closed. So that's how I get to balance. But otherwise, I think I live a normal life like everybody else.
Oh, and do you also work through the evening into night? How do you manage that?
So in the evening, yes, I usually will go to bed quite late. Like I said, I'm quite an avid reader from a very young age. So I read a lot. So going to bed, if I go home now, I have a shower, everybody else has gone to bed, I'll have something. My bedside will have at least 5 books or so. Now we have books in our phones. I'll also have quite a number going at any point in time. Most of the time I'll go to bed because I'm reading, and then I find the book down on the floor the following morning. But that's how I do it. So I'll go, not really very late, but just to make sure that I also have enough time to rest.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Let's clap hands for her. I asked that follow-up question for a reason. I've seen times and again, every great achiever puts in work, puts in time. If someone who achieves something, they are working. And you find a lot of people that are very lazy, sleeping at 7 p.m. They are waking up, not even at 5:30, jogging and doing this. No, they wake up at 8. And you wonder, who are they competing with? All those hours that someone is in bed. So I hope all of you have gotten that. To you, you can start with that second one. Do you sleep, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Because the other thing is, I've seen some of his videos. In the evening, and he's saying,
Yes.
"I'm coming from this, and tomorrow this." Do you
Yes.
sleep, sir?
Yeah. If Daddy, before I ask that question, let me just take 1 second of your time. Just mention the time and what I've read and what is there. It's an alarm. You can start from 9.
This one, there's 8:30, there's 9 a.m.,
What is
there's
written on
10.
9 down there?
This one is pray at 10,
Uh-huh.
at 5:30. There's pray. Then there's pray again at 8. There's pray at 9. All these pray. Wow. And their alarms. Wonderful.
So, Daddy, to say the truth, as my colleague has said, that's where the devil finds an opportunity. Okay, when you become too busy with activities of the flesh, he becomes happy because you suppress the spirit. You have no time for God. So even if you make billions, but if you have no time for God, Satan is okay with that. So you have seen each and every hour, I've put an alarm that says pray now, pray now. So I would be working in my office and an alarm starts ringing. I would check, pray now. I'm waking and then I'm praying in my heart. In my heart. We continue. 10 o'clock, pray now. I don't have to go anywhere. I'll just pray in my heart. That's the reason why Satan has no opportunity in whatever we do. It's because we maintain the prayer life. So, do I sleep?
That's wonderful.
The question, do I sleep? Barely I sleep. I think 2 hours to me. If I sleep, it will be usually from 3:30 to 5:30. This time, usually I'm in office. I'm working. I'm now used. The last time I slept like really sleepy, maybe was 11 years ago. Yes. So most of these revelations come when everyone is sleeping. You are alone on the computer, and now you start thinking. And when it says play, you are playing and you are thinking. It goes so sweet.
Wow. Oh, wow. Wonderful. Let me take 2 questions from the audience, and soon after that, we will go to the questions I'm being sent here. There are questions coming in from different districts and some countries, so I will be mixing the questions. Let's start with the first one. As I said yesterday, you have got 30 seconds only. Don't just tell us your name and the one you want to ask the question to. So address it to Edith, address it to Kondwani. Ask your question. Don't start with when I was young, when I went to school. No. Just ask the direct question. Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is directed to Edith. I am also Edith. So I wanted to know, you were explaining to say that there was a time that you felt challenged and you attended a lot of interviews, but you only mentioned that point whereby you went to Old Mutual. So I wanted to know, were you given other offers, and what was your motivation to go to Old Mutual? Was it financial, so to say, because most people leave one job for another job because of the financial gain. So I wanted to know if you got other offers and what motivated you to go into Old Mutual. Thank you.
Thank you. I interviewed quite a lot. The only offer that I got was Old Mutual. Was it financial gain? When I look at the salary, it was almost the same. There wasn't. Most career coaches will tell you can't move if it's not less than 20%, 30%. It was much less than that. I moved because I just felt that I was going to grow. Like I said, it was a new challenge. Thank you.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you. Let's have another question before I switch to the ones that are sending.
Thank you. I'm Limbani. My question goes to Edith as well. As you were moving from Eurocom to Old Mutual, you said that Eurocom had asked you to come back again for an interview of a country director. I just wanted to know, what do you think made them to ask you? Are there any results that you showed, something you achieved that got them to think that this is the one for the country director? You may also want to answer the same. What made Old Mutual to consider you for the acting position of CEO? Were there results that you want to share with us that you achieved? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. I think at BP, like I said, I had a 360 degree. I had the opportunity to do quite a lot of things. I think some of the initiatives that I did around efficiency in the supply chain were recognized. I remember by the time I left, I was actually chairing a project for the Southern Africa region. So through that, I think people could say, okay, somebody has got some speciality in this particular field. So living at that particular point, being part of what was being considered as a high potential employee, I'm sure when the role of managing director fell vacant, they looked at their high potentials, and that's the reason that they actually invited me. At Old Mutual, so I came in, like I said, with no financial services background. I was led to run with my manager, with my colleagues, with the team that I was working with. One of the things that I think assisted me is coming from the oil industry, you have certain things that you do. And then I could question financial services. Why do we do this? Can we do this better? I remember one of the issues was challenging the team once they had added on the business development, to challenge them to say, this is not how we should actually do, winning clients. I actually copied the model that we used in the oil industry and applied it in financial services. And indeed, we did grow the book. So it was things like those, trying to bring in models from a different industry altogether, apply it, and maybe people would notice to say maybe things are changing in this particular business. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wonderful. Are you being helped? All right. Let's take some online questions too from different districts in Malawi, and then we go to people outside the country. Coming to you, Kondwani, this is Charlotte from Lilongwe, is asking, how do you approach risk-taking in entrepreneurship? And what strategies do you use to mitigate or manage risks? So it's looking at it from a practical perspective. That let's say you're in business, how does someone manage risk-taking? And I must say, your ventures are very risky. You know? How do you manage it beyond prayer?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dad. I love it, beyond prayer. You know, an entrepreneur is not a risk taker. No. I think we commonly use this word. An entrepreneur is a risk taker. No. He is a calculated risk taker. So you don't fight or face an elephant head on. So the mistake that we make is soon after getting inspired, we have capital, then that's enough for us to start business. No. You first of all, that's why in business plan, there is a component to talk about SWOT, issues of risks. You first of all look at the risks of that business before you start. And now you think of strategies before you start. Okay, so when you start that business, that challenge will not surprise you because you already anticipated it. And the solution is clear in the business plan. So planning is the most critical part of business. All those entrepreneurs who face challenges in business and then they fail to move out, it's a clear indicator they never planned their businesses. So solution, excellent business planning. Thank you.
Wow. Wonderful. Let me ask you another one that is slightly connected. This one is from Paso, also from Lilongwe. It says, in starting the companies or businesses you have, how do you handle feelings of doubt in what you are doing? Also, to properly run a business, you need people. How do you choose a team that will properly run with you in your vision?
Thank you very much. I can assure him that as much as I play, and I think my colleague there would agree with me, I'm very good at firing. Yes, we can employ someone in the morning and fire him in the afternoon if he's not careful.
Wow.
The issue of prayer, if you say in Jesus' name, it means let it be according to your will. And his will might be to remove some people who are not performers. So, to make it short, how do I select my team? We select teams using the normal business management skills, the human resource management skills that you do. You recruit, you hire, you train people, you let them do. But now, be careful, because Satan can also plant his own agents within the team. Now, there are others that can be trained. Everyone is bound to make mistakes. You can train them. But there are others who are there to bring it down. So for those that wants to bring it down, there's a spirit behind. That's why prayer helps to give you the spirit of revelation that this one is not yours. Take him out. There was a time, let me confess here, there was a time we had a project with the Reserve Bank. They said, Kondwani, go and train 1 million entrepreneurs in financial literacy. This is 2 years ago. And in PIC, we recruited 40 people, 40 graduates to say, colleagues, go. And then when they went there, about 3 started cooking data instead of conducting actual data. So these people can cost the entire project. Solution, take them out. So one of the most challenge that we have as entrepreneurs, we fail to differentiate the relationship between master and servant. Even in the Bible, there is master and servant relationship. Employees are not brothers and sisters. Okay? So if you are dealing with employees, be the master, let them be employees. That's why it becomes a great mistake if you start sharing employees your personal life. My husband is a problem. My wife is a problem. You are sharing with an employee, you are a bad master. Masters pass instructions. So it's an issue of human resource management skills and the leadership. We don't use servant leadership style in learning business. We use translational and transformative leadership style. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, wonderful. You know, I'm enjoying the responses that are coming from both sides. You know, let's take 1 or 2 from outside Malawi. This is Chipi from Cameroon. To you, Edith. She says that one of the common challenges for professional women in male-dominated industries like yours is the resistance from the male folk to acknowledge and recognize the female leadership. What strategic management style do you use and apply to successfully manage the male folk and the women alike for efficient and effective leadership? The follow-up question is that, who are other women leaders that you draw inspiration from? And what principles you continually learn from them? So maybe the easier one is the first one. Who are other women that you look up to? That's number 1. And says, how do you manage this? You are on the top, the deputies, the directors are males. How do you handle that?
Thank you very much. I'll start with the question, who are other women leaders? I'll start with my mentor, Professor Adres Malata.
She was here yesterday.
That is the one mentor that I would really, on a very regular basis, have some time with her, even if it's 1 hour, 2 hours, have tea with her and just talk about everything and talk about nothing. But I usually get out of those discussions with different perspectives. My mother is a scientist. She's PhD. She has actually achieved much, much more than I have achieved in life. She was in a male-dominated field as a plant breeder, a scientist. I respect her a lot. And I think there are quite a number of other women as well. Yes, indeed, you will get to boardrooms where people will resist your leadership. And that does not only go to women. I think even males face the same. So it's something that as leaders, you need to say, how do I establish authentic leadership? I think the first thing is about being true to myself. Because if I try to put in an approach which is not me, yes, maybe I can win for just one boardroom meeting, but it will not be very sustainable. But for me, what I believe in, it's around being authentic, being true to myself. With my team, it's just for the team to understand fully, to say, this is how I approach things. This is how I want things executed. Sometimes it can be a meeting with people that you don't even know. They will second guess you. They will actually underrate you. Sometimes it actually works to your advantage. There has been situations where you're going to a negotiation, a very serious negotiation. Somebody is underrating you. But because you go there with substance, you are able to actually convince them otherwise. It actually can turn tables. And I assure you, it has happened to me. Being an underdog, but being able to win quite significant accounts on the basis that somebody underrated you. Maybe they never prepared enough. Maybe they didn't just do their best because they were of the view that I am not dealing with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Wow. You know, if you are marking her words well, I've seen her the way she has answered 2 or 3 questions. When a question comes and says, as a lady, she would often say, it applies to both. Make up your mind not to look at yourself as a lady. That's what I've noticed. Because the more you lady yourself, as a lady, as a woman, as a mother, already you are taking yourself as different from the world. I have noticed the way she has handled the question. She hasn't said it straight, but you say, no, that challenge comes to both. Wow, so much to learn, eh? There's a quick one here before we move back to the audience. This one is just asking, there are all these questions that will come here. This one is asking from Zomba, Adora from Zomba, says to Edith, besides the strides and the success you have at Old Mutual Malawi in your career, do you do any businesses aside, apart from work, or for you work is enough?
I do. I try to do business. We're into farming with my husband. We also do some, holiday rentals. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the business some of you have dealt with before. Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful. Let me take another 2 questions from the audience and then we come back to... So give the mics to those that are asking. Make sure you are balancing it, giving people on all sides. And some are here on stage, the worship team. Let's also try to afford them an opportunity. Yes, the next question next person asking.
Thank you very much. Ahead. Thank you for the opportunity. My question is to Kondwani. I wanted to know first.
Your name, please?
My name is Adrian Guela. I won't say much about myself, but I want to ask that question to Kondwani. I want to know, are you married? If you're married, I want to understand, how do you sell your idea about what you do to your spouse so that you are always supported in what you do. Because my understanding is that if you are going this direction, you need also support from your spouse. And if you do not have that kind of support, the work that you do might at some point crumble and fall. And in addition to that, I would also want to understand, if you stay most of the time 2 hours just to rest, you are most of the times working. How do you keep yourself motivated? Because from experience, personally, there are times that you are working, there are things that get you really demotivated, and you just don't want to do anything at all. How do you always stay motivated to work always consistently like that? Thank you.
Wow. Before you answer, there's another one also, Precious, again from Lilongwe. We have a lot of questions from Lilongwe today. This one is asking, Kondwan, you have mentioned that you sleep for only 2 hours a day, and this is for 11 years straight. My question is, if you are married, they have used an if, how do you manage family time with the kids and with your wife? Since you have mentioned that you are always working, how do you manage that, since women love family time, women love attention? How do you do it, and does it affect your family? I know there's an element there that's a personal question, but if you're comfortable to take it, you can take it.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, that's a beautiful question. I am married, and my wife is Mercy. I'm married to Mercy, and like I say, we did it for close to 9 years, and then got married. Now, there is this question that he has asked: how do you balance up? That's exactly most of the challenges that we face. In business and family are two different things. That's one thing. I can assure you that she's the most hardworking person. In fact, most of the things that some of the companies that I've talked about, Loyal Diamonds, what and what, they're run by her. But because they're companies that don't deal with people like the way I talk, she's not in the picture. You understand? Secondly, you raised a very good point here to say, Kondwani, most of the things you do, your projects are risky. You wouldn't drive your wife in a risky job if you love her. You would let her operate in a safe environment. So what do I mean by saying 2 hours sleeping? What motivates you? What motivates us is the amount of money that is coming.
Very straightforward.
Because the issue is you sleep on healthy grounds for 8 hours, and then your bank account shows like body temperature, and then you sleep for 2 hours or 3 hours. But the more you wake, the more money is coming. Then that's motivation. The only thing is that you need to balance with the health. Feed the body that eats as you work. That's the secret. Feed the body that works as you work. So that's how I balance up. Sure. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wonderful. Let's have another one from the audience.
I'm Josiane Gondwe. I have a question for Mr. Ngwira.
Who is asking? Oh, you are this side, yes. Please speak out loud.
You said in your presentation that you are more of a practical person. So I would like to know if there is any one or two products that you can share with us in less than 5 minutes, just the steps, like the way we bake a cake, maybe how to make matches, if it is okay with you, that is.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think not in 5 minutes. Let's make a product in 1 minute. Okay, so the easiest one you can do is margarine and butter. That one we usually apply when taking tea with bread. So that one does not even need so many raw materials. You just need one. That's milk. So what you do, just get that fresh milk. Okay, from fresh milk, but you make sure that the milk has some fats. Okay, and the best you can do is early in the morning, make sure the cow eat very well, and then you get that milk. Immediately start boiling. As you boil, just get your wooden stick and continue stirring. Continue stirring. The moment you do that, take out. Then take a blender. Okay, take a blender, or if you don't have a blender, a mixer, the one used in the kitchen. So take that milk, put in your basket, and then with your stirring rod, just put it there, your mixer. It will be stirring. Within 20 minutes, you will see all those fats coming together. Don't apply anything, but they will look white in color. Then what you do is take the liquid part away, keep the solid fat, continue stirring. It changes color automatically without adding anything, from white to yellowish. Okay? If you do that for 30 minutes, butter is what? Is made. You can now choose to go and start packaging in the fridge, or if you want now just to add a preservative, you add potassium benzoate. That's what you can add, just to make sure that at least you preserve. Potassium sorbate for preservation. But otherwise, you have made butter here. That's how it is made. The last one, if you just want the same but powder milk, okay, the same milk but powder, you don't want to turn it to butter, just continue heating, continue boiling, but make sure you continue what? Stirring. It will come a point where water has evaporated and you have like porridge milk. Take that out, put on your tray. Then you can put in an oven if you don't mind, or if you can sun dry, but if you just want within 15 minutes, put in an oven, low heat. The moment it's dry, take it in the blender. That's how powder milk is made. If you want it to look cream in color, just take 1 tablespoon of sugar, white sugar, put in your blender, then you blend again. The color from sugar changes the color of the milk and looks cream like that one in the packet.
Wow. Wow. So in your house, do you buy things or you just make? All right, that's a joke.
Yeah, I can confess that even when people are saying diesel is a problem, I was making my own.
Wow.
Biodiesel.
That's wonderful. So you can make diesel as well.
Biodiesel. You can make from used cooking oil. Within 3 days, you have the biodiesel. Yeah, oh yes, it's very simple. In fact, as a nation, if we are serious, we can simply start biodiesel and then stop importing. We have soya, we have groundnuts, we press the oil, the remaining oil, we heat it, and then we do the biodiesel process. It's just 3 days, the biodiesel is there. Excellent biodiesel. Okay. So when everyone was crying, diesel, say, okay, fine, diesel indeed. Okay, but
You were making your own. I think me and this will be parking our cars at your house. All right, another question to you, Kondwani, before we move to Edith. There's a question from, and just put in a few more minutes, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we'll be wrapping up. There's a question from Cape Town. This is Elizabeth from Cape Town. The question is to you, Kondwani. For a person who aspires to be in production industry, the soap making industry to be specific, do you need any special kind of qualifications or educations to get started? And what are the things that one needs to step up in terms of capital, machinery, and the likes? And are there any special marketing strategies that you'd share for someone that wants to venture into soap manufacturing?
Daddy, soap is the easiest thing you can do. In fact, the capital base, even 30,000 kwacha, you can start manufacturing soap. Okay, that same cooking oil we use at home. Take cooking oil. Let me give the measurement here. That cooking oil, if you take 2 liters of cooking oil here, and the water, and just caustic soda, that is soap. Whatever we do is simply value addition and making it look competitive. Saponification is simply water, oil, and the caustic soda. Now, for him, she does not even need machines. You don't need heavy machines to manufacture soap. Cups and basins are enough. The only reason why we don't recommend cooking oils is because it's expensive. So if you are doing it for business, then you are going to operate in losses. That's why we go for palm oil. But the secret is, that's why these university students, the 5,000, what we have told them is, we'll support you with cotton seed, we'll support you with sunflower seeds and fertilizers, grow, produce. The seed press oil. Now that oil start manufacturing soaps so that you don't import soaps elsewhere. So the secret, if you want to venture into serious soap production, start from sunflower by making sure you have your own what? Oil. That's sustainability plan. I can assure you that it's, of all the people that we have trained, the moment they use 40,000, they have a profit. After removing whatever, they report a profit of about 40,000 again. So soap is hot business. That's what I started with. And I encourage her not to bother with machines. Not to bother. I used to make maybe 20,000 tablets in a day, just the cups and basins. And a lot of people are
20,000.
Yes, a lot of people are doing the same. Even Malawi Bureau of Standard, when it comes to soap, it's very easy to meet the target. The formula that I share, which I can just even summarize now, meets the standard. When they do the testing, it comes out open. Say, yes, this one has passed. Of all the people that we have trained, 99.9%, they have been pre-certified by MBS. So for her, to answer her directly, my dear, 4 liters of oil, just mix with 8 liters of water, and then add 1 kg of caustic soda, just it will get dry, soap is made. Simple.
And you see, these digits are in your head, eh? You know, it's mix 8 kgs, mix. Wow. Wow, wonderful. To you, Edith, this is done. And he's asking, you talked of learning from those above and then learning from colleagues and those under you. How do you make sure that you get so close to these people above and you get maximum benefit from them? And he says, and how easy is it to learn from those at the same level? You know, and then looking at your different schedules. But the one I'm most interested in, which is something that many have also asked me, you want to learn from that person above there. Okay. Suppose you don't work in the same space. How do you just approach that person? And as you're answering that question, just know that the answer is they also want to approach you. So how does someone approach an Edith? How does someone approach a Kondwani? Yes.
Thank you very much for that question. So learning from people above. I think the one key thing is you can learn through interaction, where we share notes an hour or so, very beneficial. You can learn from watching. We can learn from Kondwani, just reading about him in the papers, yeah? The good things. One of the things that I want to really also maybe share, I think as individuals, most of the time, preoccupied with the, the way that we've painted somebody. So for example, you might be having a manager, and that manager maybe is not liked for whatever reason. It does not mean that he has nothing to offer you. Any person will have their strengths and their weakness. And usually in the workplace especially, because I've spent much of my life in the workplace, once you paint, people try to, they'll just focus on the weaknesses. But those people have something to offer. So I will tell you my story from my experience. One of the best managers that I have was a very tough person. Very tough, that everybody felt that he was a very tough person. But I realized that technically he was one of the best. And I still rank him as one of the best. Not one of the best, actually. So for me, I said, yes, he's tough. Yes, he's got these things that everybody talks about. But let me focus on learning from him. And I would do, whatever, all these other, he would do shout, he would do, that for me I would just put it behind me and just focus on what he's giving, what he's actually imparting, the knowledge. So you actually understand that for him, underlining this is how he actually likes it done. And when you look at it, you do actually see that it's actually good practice. But because of the way he delivers, people would be put off. So learning through just watching, learning through interactions, and learning through leading, I will try to make a bar of soap tomorrow. That's learning. So it's in various ways. It's not just about you having access to people. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Wonderful. There are several questions that came up here as regards reading. And let me ask the media team, please select for me one final question from from someone outside the country, one question from someone in the country. Just target that, ask this one, then we'll take the final 2 questions from the audience. But several people here asked, actually there are several questions here on you reading. They said you have mentioned reading several times. What do you read? The other one said, do you just pick any book and read? But they are asking in that space, you are reading, are you reading on, fiction, non-fiction, or you are reading on business, or is it newspapers, or is everything that is there?
I think I read everything that is available. Growing up, fiction was that's how I came to love reading. For all of you who were born a long time ago like me, there was Money Magazine. There used to be the stories. I used to read every month. There was Jatsalira. I used to read those. So that actually inculcated a culture of reading to such an extent that I think in the past we used to have quite a lot of Chichewa literature books. So I read a lot. So for those of you having young kids, encourage them. Once I started reading, I came across the Chichewa Bible at home. I started reading from Genesis. A month later, my parents realized that I was not going out for Kugasewera because I was coming from school, put my books, I'm continuing. So I was reading the Bible as a novel. And this was Standard 4. But since that time, for me, reading is something that really refreshes my soul. So I actually read quite a lot. Right now, in the last month or so, I'm reading quite a lot around developing economies, those that have gone from poverty, and reading through quite a number of those. I also like to read around biographies. I've read a lot of biographies. I also read inspirational books, coaches, etc. But I would say one thing. Usually, I'm not reading one book at a time. There will be quite a number of books.
So how do you do it? You're opening
Sometimes a book will take me 2 months before I finish because maybe priorities have changed. But there are certain books, you pick it up, you want to finish it the same day. So most of the time, I actually take advantage. When I travel, that's when I do a lot of reading.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's take questions from the audience. Maybe the last 2 questions, and I also pick here the final 2 questions. Yes.
I'm Pastor Jeffries, representing the North.
Yeah, he has traveled all the way from the north. So, yes, please go ahead and ask.
My main question is going to Kondwani. I think he had mentioned about employing several graduates. I don't know, are these temporary or permanent employees? And also, I've been following you. There are some of the things that you're doing that they used to be done in the past, like the sort and the like, but only that we were told that they didn't have fluoride and everything, so people were discouraged. So I wanted to understand, how do you balance in terms of food safety and quality control, considering that you are starting more of a volcano in Malawi, where everyone else in their household, they are starting to produce things. Are we not going to end up in a situation where we are infecting ourselves? People are producing soap that is not well controlled, and people are producing juices that are not well controlled. I understand even the government would want products to be produced in a controlled environment. How do you then balance? Are you not facing challenges with the government in such production? To Edith, you mentioned about overcoming.
Just one. Let's take
All
that
right.
one. Thank you. So that we give an opportunity to another
Yes,
person.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me say the government has been very supportive. I've been called several times by cabinet ministers congratulating and encouraging me personally for the revolution. I can confirm here that we have signed an MOU with the CMED, which is a department under the Ministry of Trade. That partnership even offers 50% discount to entrepreneurs that we are training if they want to send samples to Malawi Bill of Standard. From the normal payment they pay, if they are coming through our network and the CMED relationship, they only pay 50%. The government also invited us to work on a value addition project. In fact, they have already sent us another template MOU to sign. We have had quite a number of meetings with the Minister of Finance, inviting us, say, okay, this thing is good and we want to support. But they have not yet supported. Coming to the issue, for example, like salt, I'm not a very happy person. You know, the problem with Malawi is that we don't question results, or we don't question. We just take everything as it is. This is the reason why something that we agree today, tomorrow we will not agree. Most men of God said Facebook is satanic, and today most men of God have live services on Facebook. You understand? Because when technology was coming, they didn't understand. They just had a negative attitude with it. You understand? So salt in Malawi is a salt-producing nation. We have good salt. Let any scientist challenge me. We have good salt starting from Eutini. Chikwawa is the best. The only problem is that it does not have iodine. And that iodine, understand, please. Iodine is not in the nature of salt. Iodine that we don't have is a policy in Malawi. Because those years we had issues of goiter. Not that salt was causing goiter. We had cases of goiter in Malawi. We had cases of vitamin A deficiency in Malawi. So the Ministry of Health, Malawi Bill of Standard, had to sit down. How do we control this? Why don't we introduce vitamin A in other products as a policy, so that if people don't consume vitamin A, they should find it by default in this product? That's why cooking oil today, if you want it to put it on the shelf, you must add vitamin A. Not that without vitamin A is bad, no. But it's a policy in Malawi. So it doesn't mean cooking oil elsewhere in the world has vitamin A, no. In Malawi, you should fortify it with vitamin A. Now, salt in sugar, the same thing. Sugar in Malawi you have produced, yes, but according to the policies, add vitamin A, which is just a fortification, introducing it. Salt now in Malawi is good, but the policy says introduce iodine, at least add iodine to combat that. So literature will feel as if our salt was the one causing whatsoever, which is not true. You understand? So what have we done now? What we are doing is we have partnered with institutions. Now we have to train those people how to simply fortify with iodine. So we train you salt production. It's coming, we'll do it in the stadium. We'll pick sand from there, and we'll process salt here, and we'll add iodine. Let it go to MBS. A question, are people not going to manufacture something poisonous? That's the reason why we encourage everyone to submit samples at MBS. All our trainings, soon after training, the samples go. They don't test by looking at the products. They are machines. that says this pass, this no, this pass. So when results say pass, it means it's okay. It's something that is good. So all in all, in summary, I would say we question whatever policies we made. Wheat production. Malawi is a wheat growing nation. But we are not growing wheat. Why? So all these are the things that we need to question by the end of the day. They did this so that they can import everything outside Malawi. The more they import, the more they put their shares there. We need to kill that and produce our own.
Wow, wonderful. And I like the word that you use, revolution. That's wonderful. Let's have the last one from the audience, and then I want to give them the last 5 minutes if they have got anything to say.
I'm Comfort Junga. My question goes to Mr. Gondan Kajamba. I understand that your business is dynamic and it's huge. How do you make sure that you manage your finances in all those sectors, that your business shouldn't end up falling? In those times where there is tension, how do you manage it?
All right, before you take that one, so the final one from the audience, ask them the one that has a question to Edith, so that will be the final questions from the audience. Also one question for Edith and one question for Kondwani from the online audience, and then we close. You can go ahead to answer.
Oh, thank you, Dad. How do I balance? It's all about leadership. If you want to do everything alone, you get tired and you want to go far. The reason why you bring staff members, train, delegate, is because you want them to carry out other assignments so that you can focus on other assignments. Like in business, you cannot monitor and coach yourself. So if you are not careful, you leave the leadership role and start doing the operations role. You are not an operations manager. You are a coordinating officer. So my secret is PIC has staff members. And the moment we bring them, we empower them, they make decisions. So we give them power because they are human beings, they've got a brain, and most of them are graduates, some hold masters. They know what to do. They consult you where necessary. So the challenge we have is in Malawi, because it's my business, I want them not to start anything until I arrive. Okay, there's nothing like that in PIC. I can assure you that all district and constituency manufacturing training, Kondwan has never gone there. It's my team that goes there. I only go in cities, that's all. Even if cities and churches only. Churches, no matter, even if the church has 5 members, I will come and present because that's the house of God. It's God that has invited me there. There I don't send my team. But, so how do I control my finances? I've got a team that is experienced in finance management. They handle that. They bring the sales, we check, everything is okay. So trust your team, empower them, and build the relationship. Because the moment you destroy that relationship, then things don't work. Thank you.
Wow. I'll clap us for him. Let me get a final question from the audience. I think she has been putting up, yes, and for a long time.
Yeah. Any insights on the imposter syndrome? Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I had included it on my presentation. So imposter syndrome is where one has self-doubts around, am I an imposter here? Should I be CEO of Old Mutual, for example? And this is something that most people, especially coming through different stages of life, we usually get them. I'm sure those of us that are young parents, the moment you have those kids come on board, you actually wonder, am I fit to be a mother? Am I fit to be a father, for example? So that's imposter syndrome. And it happens. It's important that you recognize that it is one. Because there's nothing that should stop you from attaining whatever you need to attain. Yeah? It's just ensuring that am I ready to take this particular responsibility? am I going to be up for this job? So it's something that I advise young people to say, be always aware for that, because it does erode confidence. And if your confidence is eroded, it's how you appear to other people. Sometimes you can actually lose out on chances. So be self-aware of that. Make sure that you are just preparing yourself and be ready for any responsibility that is given to you. Be aware. Make sure that you do not erode your self-confidence. Thank you.
All right, thank you. To you, Edith, there's a question from Chifundo here, right from Blantyre here, and she says that you said it's cold at the top. What do you mean? And there's a follow-up question on, if you rise to the top, I think I saw it somewhere. Oh, this one, I'm looking at the many questions from Mzimba, but we can't take all. So let this one be the last one. Number one, you said that it's cold at the top. What does it mean? And then number two, when you rise to the top there, how do you stay there? Because they also say what goes up must come down. And many people go up and come down. You have been the CEO of Old Mutual Malawi since, you said 2017? Yes. You rise. How do you survive there? Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, I had also included in my presentation, it's called at the top. I think the reason I wanted and what I wanted to share is be very intentional about building those networks that you have. Because at my level, because maybe I'm not very available in all the networks with all the relationships that I had. Most of the time, because I'm trying to give my 100% at work, and then I'm trying to give my 100% and the family. Sometimes the time is not enough to actually build that. You realize within a few months or a year that the person that you used to chat, sometimes just picking that call, you are no longer doing that. So be very intentional. It's called at the top. Sometimes you need people to bounce off ideas, or sometimes that's just to distress. So be very intentional to make sure that you don't catch that cold when you're at the top. Staying there, I don't know. Yes, I think relatively you could say I'm at the top, but am I at the top?
That's the next one.
Am I at the top?
Yes.
I think as individuals, we are living beings. We continuously grow. So I believe that I'm still growing. Thank you.
I like that one. So within this country, where else would you go to? I'm thinking myself, am I at the top? There are very few organizations, unless if it's just, change of, fields or a higher salary or bigger benefits. But really, Old Mutual is one of those. Okay, we must say congratulations, but since you are still pushing, but she's a great inspiration, isn't she? Wow, thank you. Let's go to Kondwani. I'll pick this question. This must be a young person, so let me pick this one. This is Pesi, and is asking that, from the long ways, asking that, being someone that has had a whole list of things that you do from a young age, where most of them are not even related, how are you able to balance these unrelated startups? And then he says, and how long does it take you to set one going, and then how do you concurrently handle them? But I think that's a similar question I have. If you are doing so many things, how do you handle them? But also, all these many startups, you're starting this, how are you starting them, and how are you able to balance them out?
Okay, so if what I shared is it sounds a lot. Let me add 3 more that we have just done.
Oh,
Okay?
wow. Now, I hope you are feeling what I'm feeling. How do you maintain it at the top? Am I at the top? And you are wondering, how do you balance many things? Says, these are not many things. Let me add more. You know, there are some of you that have resigned from church positions. You told us that it's because I have started school. Someone said I have started a new business. How many businesses do you have? 2. How many? What is your position? I know I've just been promoted to supervisor. I hope you are learning something. Yes.
All right. So let me just add the 4.
4 now.
So we have just submitted our application at Reserve Bank to establish a microfinance. So our dream is let it be a bank. Okay, so we have done everything. We're just waiting for the license. On top of what we are doing. Okay, we have just submitted everything at Makla for establishment of our own TV, the corporate TV. We are just waiting for the license. Apart from that, we have just signed an MOU with our Indian counterparts, a 12 billion kwacha project. That has to do with agri-processing. I didn't mention it. And the last one, allow me to mention that we have just procured 4 hectares of land to start our own hotel at Ngozi. Now, look, it is the spirit of satisfaction that kills Malawians. Now, the secret is Malawian local entrepreneurs, especially those that we do entrepreneur from studying books, they will quote a word and say, focus on one thing. Entrepreneurship, to focus is not to do one thing. To focus is to do one or more without losing direction. Now, tell me, Daddy, if we are manufacturing these and there's a 12 billion kwacha project that has come, should I say it's enough? It's impossible. So the thing is, the last one, we are constructing 15 filling stations. We have done one at Kapatenga, another one in Kasungu, Katabe, Tukombo. Serious construction. Within 5 years, we want to see all the 15 filling stations up running. Some of them have been completed already. Now, to us, to me, I don't see them as enough. So long it's a project, it has started, it is operating, good job, proceed. Let them see it as many. But so long it's bringing revenue, we are fine and good, and continue adding more.
Wow. And I also saw this. Where did I see it? All in one? Something
yes.
like that?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even mention. I've just started another company, all in one. Okay, all in one, as I speak, we have brought in a team of engineers from Europe and Malawi. We have given them a contract. They are building like Alibaba or Amazon. So we have already received more than 800,000 products from Malawians. So what you do now, from now on, I think in the next 2 months, if you want to buy something from the market, you just do like the way you do with Amazon. You click all-in-one website, you pick whether you need a courier or what, you inquire, everything online. So we have already gotten a building in Ilongwe, close to Standard Bank. You go, you see a banner there. Here in Blantyre, we have just picked a warehouse in Lunzu. So that's what I'm saying. We are only sharing what we can share to the public. But the other projects that we feel, these are big projects, we cannot share. So these ones we can share, the one we are speaking.
So there are some that you cannot share.
No. They are big projects we cannot share to this platform. These ones we have shared are the ones we can share.
Wow. Wonderful. I'm sure there are a lot of prayer petitions, fasting programs that will happen after now. Your last words, Mrs. Edith Gia, in case you had something that you really wanted to share or you remembered or you want to speak to the people, that this is the last thing that I want to say. You have got 2 to 5 minutes to say it.
Thank you very much to just emphasize and also say thank you. I think the work that you're doing here is amazing. Looking at all these young people, you have wealth for this particular nation you're building through the young people. Very brilliant young men. I see Kevin there. Hi. That you are, it's around how we actually grow, but it's also the how is very important. Are we building people that have integrity? Are they reliable? I think that is a currency that is so much in short supply in our society today. So for the young people today, you still have quite a lot of life ahead of you. Learn from all of us. We are sharing our experiences, not that we are better. It's just that we have been there. And we're just sharing with you. Take whatever we have and build. Take it, own it, and build from there. Most importantly, I think the one thing that I want to share is continue to learn every day. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Your last words in 2 minutes to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Dad. My last word, my colleague has thanked the church, and I won't lie on that. But then maybe an advice to all of us here. We have been motivated, but be careful. The next thing Satan will do is to give you an idea of something that looks like business, yet it's not business. With the sole purpose that you misuse whatever capital God has given you. And we call those petty tradings. Things that keep you busy from morning to sunset, and there's nothing you can show. But then when you see you are very busy, even your friends would agenda busy in Chichewa. But then you can't see anything coming. That's the devil's scheme. That's why the Bible says he comes as an angel of light. So the only thing you can do, two secrets. Number one, before you start business, check your relationship status with your parents. If it's sour, don't start business, clean it up. Business will never learn successfully if your parent has a grudge with you. Trust me, I'm an entrepreneur, I know what I'm talking about. Ignore this, you're going to spend millions and millions and nothing until you go back to your mother and father and say, Dad, I'm sorry. Even if they are wrong, you are right. For the sake of your business, clean up. The Bible says there are gods of this world and you can't go above that. Please take this serious before you start business. And secondly, pray. Ask God to give you the business that he wanted you to do before the creation of the world. Because you only find God's security and assurance if you operate in your destiny. Outside that, you are not assured of security. So if God said you establish medical centers and you are busy in a restaurant, he's not there. Thank you very much.
Wow. Oh, wow. Another personal question, if you may answer. You can either answer direct or just give us a range. You don't look as old. These results must be of someone around 70, 80. Are you 70, 80, or you are around what age?
Kondwan is 34, Dad.
Oh, I don't know if you heard that. You didn't. Or you heard, but you are surprised. Or shocked. Okay, they're saying, you know what, I want you to hear this for a reason. Because sometimes people are looking at, when I get to that age, then I'll do this. I remember when the Lord called me to leave the workspace where I was working and said to come into full-time ministry. I was 28. And when I told people, everyone said, oh, at 28! And they looked at 28 as, you are too young to do something like this. That's why I deliberately asked that question. Because in Malawi here, people are They are saying life, not only Malawi, people say life starts at 40. And I'm wondering, how does life start at 40? And then someone is 55 and they are calling themselves a youth. You know, we are the youth of today. And you are 45, you are youth of today. At 60, they are still saying, you know, we are still young. Yes, on one hand, everyone is still young. But on the other hand, let's not waste our young years. If you're 22, you can do something. You are 38, you can do something. At 38, you are not young. At 40, you are not young. Life does not start at 40. Life starts at 1 day old. You know, I was preparing them to hear the age again. Please, they are saying you should repeat.
No, I'm 34 years old. But as you indicate to say why young, in my life I've never had this youth entertainment life. I made a decision not to. So I've never attended disco.
You made a decision not to?
No. I've never attended disco in my life.
Oh.
No, I've never, because the youth to me is a stage of active performance and not a stage of entertainment. Entertainment is for everyone. So I expect maybe to start entertainment maybe at the age of 50, 60, but this time I must work and build my future, the future of the nation, and the future of everyone around me.
Wow. Wow. You know, as we close, allow me to say a very, very big thank you, Mrs. Edith Gia. I know that you are not a person that has all the time, and what it took you to adjust your programs. You know, she was in board meetings and all of that, very tight schedule, but she still incorporated us, you know, inside there. We don't take it for granted. Thank you. And Mr. Kondwani Kachamba Ngwira, you know, we also talked, I think when you talked, you said you are going to Nigeria, and then you had this, you had to adjust your programs just to make time for us. We don't take it for granted. A very, very big thank you. Come on, let's clap hands for them as they go back to their seats. Thank you.